Severe weather developing across multiple parts of Australia. Heavy rainfall expected for northern Queensland, extreme heat continuing through central regions, and the remnants of tropical cyclone Lana bringing significant rain to Western Australia. That S, what we're dealing with this Wednesday, the 28th of January. I've examined the latest data from the Bureau of Meteorology, analysed the pressure patterns and reviewed the model outputs. There is a lot to cover, so let's get straight into it. Right now, across Mount Carbine in far north Queensland, conditions are extremely muggy. 30 degrees at 10:30 this morning with 85% humidity. That S uncomfortable. 5 millimetres of rain fell around daybreak. That warm, sticky air mass has been parked over the region all week. Compare that to what S happening further south. Central Australia is copping extreme heat. Ivanhoe in western New South Wales hit 38 degrees early this morning. Birdsville in far western Queensland sitting at 35. Inaminka, just outside Moomba in the northeastern corner of South Australia, reached 36. These aren't peak afternoon temperatures. This is mid-morning heat. The pressure pattern tells you everything you need to know. Low pressure dominating right across interior central Australia, particularly over New South Wales. Where that low pressure sits, that S where the heat builds. It S a heat trough and it S been stationary for days. Yesterday we saw record-breaking temperatures in Victoria. Mildura in the state as far north hit 48.9 degrees. Renmark in South Australia reached 49.6. That S tickling 50 degrees Celsius, ludicrously hot. Those records will stand for a long time. Out west, the remnants of ex-tropical cyclone Lana are slowly falling apart around the Wiluna area. This system is bringing much-needed rain to the eastern edges of Western Australia, but the accumulations are concerningly heavy. We're re-looking at 150 to 250 millimetres in some locations, possibly more. Flooding is a significant concern, particularly for roads in this region. The Eyre Highway along the Nullarbor could see washouts. The Great Central Road between Laverton up towards Warburton and Giles is at risk of significant water damage. If you're re-travelling through these areas, expect delays, major delays. Some sections may be impassable. Up in northern Australia, low pressure is widespread across northwestern Queensland. That's bringing the rainfall. Showers and thunderstorms continuing across the northwest. Areas of weak convergence developing offshore from the far north Queensland coastline. The Daintree coast has copped heavy rainfall over the last couple of hours. Moderate showers and thunderstorms will continue throughout the remainder of this week. Tomorrow looks drier across the Cassowary coast and the Daintree rainforest as the low pressure system and associated trough move further north and offshore. But showers and thunderstorms return Saturday and Sunday. Now let's talk about the main system. Tropical low 18U. This is currently a very broad and weak low pressure system sitting somewhere between Mount Isa and the Carpentaria coast. The system is tracking slowly towards the northwest. We're re-expecting this system to eventually position itself in proximity to or over the Gulf of Carpentaria. When it gets within close proximity to the Gulf, or actually over the water, it's going to redevelop and intensify. There is an outside chance this system becomes a tropical cyclone in the Gulf, then swings back down towards Mornington Island. That would be a very unusual track. But here's the thing. Even if it does develop into a tropical cyclone, it would remain a very weak system. The cyclone potential is almost irrelevant to the forecast because the rainfall element is by far the most important aspect right now. Some of the forecast models are showing extreme rainfall accumulations. The Access model projection shows up to 1,000 millimetres in a few spots, with some locations potentially reaching 1,200 millimetres along the southeast Gulf Coast. Around Koroomba and Normanton, rainfall accumulation is expected to be very significant. Those numbers ease off pretty quickly as you get further inland. Normanton and Gregory are only expecting about 150 millimetres each. But coastal locations may cop it big in terms of rainfall. The reason is straightforward. Showers and thunderstorms will be streaming in through the Gulf of Carpentaria, then colliding with the coastline. That S where this rainfall develops. Now, whilst this is quite an extreme forecast and anything over 1,000 millimetres would certainly be highly unlikely at this point, it paints a pretty clear picture. Whatever rainfall does develop as a result of this tropical low or even a tropical cyclone is going to remain very coastal. And that's actually the best case scenario for flooding. We no strangers to heavy rainfall in northwestern Queensland. You've seen the flood cameras. The Lind River still has massive amounts of water flowing over the road. It was much higher about 2 weeks ago in the wake of those Boxing Day floods. That was early January, just a massive extent of water. It has since dropped down substantially, but the point is clear. We currently experiencing significant flooding up here in northwestern Queensland. The fact that this rainfall is falling closer to the coastline as opposed to upstream through the Lind River or the Gilbert River or the Gregory River or the Norman River catchments means this rain will very quickly flow back out into the Gulf of Carpentaria. That means flooding is not expected to be as significant, even though accumulations between 200 and 500 millimetres are totally within the realm of possibilities right now. It still means flooding is likely to occur, but it is more going to be coastal based. We will still see some significant falls from showers and thunderstorms. Don T write off the chance of flooding, particularly flash flooding, but the risk is a little bit reduced compared to what we saw on Boxing Day and in the days that followed. For those in the Daintree and Cassowary coast areas, a further 100 millimetres is certainly possible today, but that's relatively minor for some of these locations. Tomorrow is expected to be drier. Showers and thunderstorms return in smaller fashion on Saturday and Sunday. Further showers and thunderstorms, maybe even an area or two of convergence developing Monday and Tuesday. Typically, when we see Gulf of Carpentaria low pressure systems or tropical cyclones, particularly when they at peak intensity and approaching landfall, we see a big uptick in rainfall across the Cassowary coast. That S likely to happen between Sunday and about Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Just be aware of that if you in the area. Monitor the Bureau of Meteorology warnings. Keep an eye on local conditions. If it's flooded, forget it. Never drive through floodwater. Now let's switch things to the subtropics and talk about central and southeastern Queensland. There's a massive area of cloud this morning which is keeping things milder, particularly for the Burnett and parts of the Granite Belt and the Darling Downs. A bit of cloud developing out into the Coral Sea. We actually have a weak low pressure system or a weak broad trough developing in the southern parts of the Coral Sea. This is not tropical in nature at all. We're not looking at a tropical low, but this system is expected to move up into the Capricornia coast vicinity. By Thursday, tomorrow afternoon, we were going to be looking at a couple of showers here and there, pushing into the Capricornia coastline and potentially into the southeast Queensland coastline as well. This weak low pressure system will likely begin approaching the Queensland coastline through Friday and Saturday. You can actually see the remnants of that Vanuatu and Fiji tropical cyclone through Friday and Saturday, also approaching this part of the Coral Sea. In general, we're looking at a showery and more turbulent period through the southern parts of the Coral Sea and the northern pockets of the Tasman Sea. That means a couple of showers here and there through the southeast coast expected through this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. There is potential for a thunderstorm or two on Monday or Tuesday through southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. But we've got low temperatures and really not favourable conditions for these thunderstorms. Very low instability. So severe thunderstorm activity is not really expected. A couple of isolated thunderstorms associated with showers cannot be ruled out as we head towards Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. But we're not talking about severe weather here. More severe thunderstorm potential lies out towards central and western Queensland and also through parts of central New South Wales. Friday, Saturday, Sunday and Monday may bring a multi-day severe thunderstorm outbreak through parts of New South Wales and by extension into Victoria as well. That is something to keep tabs on. Now let us talk about this heat. The satellite imagery shows a massive cloud band associated with the remnants of tropical cyclone Lana out in the eastern parts of Western Australia, then brushing up against a weak cold front moving down into the Tasman Sea. That S sandwiching this massive area of low pressure and resulting in a stagnant pool of heat across central Australia. Yesterday's temperatures were extraordinary. 48.9 degrees at Mildura, 49.6 at Renmark. Record-breaking temperatures, at least for Victoria. This heat is hanging around. Today is going to be hot, but it's going to be more in those traditionally hotter locations. So this is nothing really out of the ordinary for this time of year, except for the duration of this heat wave. Tomorrow is going to get even hotter for South Australia, particularly around Lake Eyre and Lake Torrens. Heat continuing to build into the Eyre Peninsula and down to Ceduna and Streaky Bay through Friday. We'll also see heat return to northern Victoria on Friday after those southerly changes push it further north today and tomorrow. Saturday and Sunday, this heat eases off. You can see a big southerly change coming through, pushing this heat out of New South Wales into southern Queensland. Sunday is going to be the end of this heat wave. In fact, we may see temperatures drop into the single digits on Saturday and Sunday into parts of Victoria. We are a nation of extremes. There's no two ways to put it. It can be snowing in Tasmania while at 50 degrees up towards northern Australia. It really is a mixed bag, this nation. After this heat wave, I am not seeing any big signals of heat apart from Western Australia. It is going to get pretty hot as we head towards the first and second week of February. That is pretty typical for Western Australia as school returns. But across southeastern Australia, I am not seeing any big signals for heat returning, not at least for another week or two. That's good. We definitely need a reprieve from this heat. If you're re-dealing with this extreme heat, particularly in South Australia and northern Victoria, here's what you need to do. Check on elderly neighbours and mates. This heat is dangerous for vulnerable people. Keep hydrated. Limit outdoor activity during peak heat. If you're reworking outside, take regular breaks in the shade. Look after your pets and livestock. Make sure they have access to water and shade. For those in rural areas with livestock, this is critical. Cattle and sheep are at risk in these temperatures. Ensure water troughs are full. Check them multiple times a day. If you've got sheds or shelter, make sure animals can access them. For those in flood-prone areas in far north Queensland and the Gulf region, different preparations are needed. If you're in a cyclone-prone area, and this system does develop secure loose items around the property, stock up on essentials before the system arrives. Have your emergency kit ready. Batteries, torch, radio, first aid supplies, enough food and water for at least 3 days. Know your flood risk. If it's flooded, forget it. That's the official state emergency service slogan, and it is there for a reason. Never drive through floodwater. You can see what's underneath. The road might be washed out. The current might be stronger than you think. For those travelling through Western Australia, where ex-cyclone Lana is bringing heavy rain, check road conditions before you leave. The Eyre Highway and Great Central Road are at significant risk of flooding. Main Roads WA will have the latest updates. Don T attempt to cross flooded roads. If you are planning to travel over the next few days, reconsider your timing. Delays are likely. Some areas may be cut off entirely. Now, a bit of perspective on these rainfall totals. The models showing 1,000 millimetres or more are on the extreme end. That would be highly unusual even for the wet season, but 200 to 500 millimetres is entirely plausible. That's a significant amount of rain in a short period. For comparison, Brisbane's average January rainfall is about 150 millimetres. So we're potentially talking about 2 to 3 times Brisbane's monthly average, falling in just a few days across parts of the Gulf Coast. The Access model and the European model are showing similar patterns, which gives us more confidence in the general forecast. But there's still uncertainty about exactly where the heaviest falls will occur. That depends on the precise track of the low pressure system. If it moves more towards the coast, we see heavier coastal rainfall. If it stays further inland, the rainfall spreads more broadly but with lower totals in any one location. The Bureau of Meteorology will issue flood watches and warnings as this system develops. Pay attention to those. They re-updated regularly as new information comes in. For those in southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales, the thunderstorm risk Monday and Tuesday is worth watching, but it's not a major concern at this stage. Isolated storms, possibly some heavy downpours, but severe weather is unlikely given the low instability. The more significant severe weather risk is further west, central and western Queensland, central New South Wales, possibly extending into Victoria. That S where we might see a multi-day outbreak Friday through Monday. Damaging winds, large hail, heavy rainfall are all possible with these storms. If you re in these areas, keep an eye on Bureau of Meteorology warnings. Have a plan, know where to shelter if severe storms develop. One last point about the heat in Victoria and South Australia. Those record temperatures yesterday, 48.9 and 49.6 degrees, are extreme even by Australian standards. Many of you remember Black Saturday, 7th of February 2009, 46.4 degrees in Melbourne. Temperatures exceeding 45 degrees across much of Victoria. Catastrophic fire danger. 173 people lost their lives. This current heat wave 1T reached those extremes in terms of fire danger. We're not looking at catastrophic conditions, but it is still serious heat. Take it seriously. The good news is this heat breaks down over the weekend. By Sunday, you will be looking at much more reasonable temperatures. Parts of Victoria may even see overnight minimums in single digits. That S, quite a swing, but at S, typical of Australian weather patterns. So, to sum up, tropical low 18U in the Gulf of Carpentaria region. 200 to 500 millimetres of rain possible along the southeast Gulf Coast over the coming days. Coastal flooding likely, but not as severe as the Boxing Day floods because the rainfall is staying coastal rather than falling in upstream catchments. Extreme heat continuing today and tomorrow across central Australia, particularly South Australia and northern Victoria. This heat breaks down Saturday and Sunday with a strong southerly change. The remnants of ex-tropical cyclone Lana bringing 150 to 250 millimetres to parts of Western Australia. Significant road flooding likely along the Eyre Highway and Great Central Road. Showers developing along the southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales coast this weekend, with isolated thunderstorms possible Monday and Tuesday. Potential multi-day severe thunderstorm outbreak Friday through Monday across central and western Queensland, central New South Wales and possibly Victoria. Check the Bureau of Meteorology website for the latest warnings and forecasts. Conditions can change quickly. What we are reforecasting today might shift tomorrow as new data comes in and the systems develop. If you in an affected area, have a plan, know your risks, prepare accordingly. Don't panic, but don't be complacent.